Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm reviewing Chanel Allure Sensuelle. This is such a sophisticated fragrance. It's new to my collection and I absolutely love it, so I have to do a full review, and in fact quite a few of you requested that I do a full review under my video on woody fragrances, in which this fragrance was mentioned last week. So let's get into it. Chanel Allure Sensuelle, the EDP, was released back in 2005. Officially, it's classified as an oriental floral, but I would classify it as an oriental floral woody / patchouli. It's a very sophisticated, intense, rich fragrance, very warm, heavy, mysterious, and definitely more nighttime appropriate than the original Allure, the EDP or the EDT. Unlike the original, which is kind of a fresh, fruity floral vanilla fragrance, this one is very much a strong, ambery rose patchouli scent with dried fruits, frankincense, spices. It's a mature, grown-up, sophisticated fragrance, like most Chanel fragrances, not overly sweet, and it even leans a bit unisex or masculine. It opens slightly citrusy, floral, powdery, but then becomes warmer, more balsamic. I would say this is very balsamic once it dries down. The frankincense is really noticeable, and so is the patchouli. The rich, earthy patchouli is present from the opening to the dry down, and so is the rose. The rose in this fragrance is a dry rose. It's not too sweet, not too floral. It's more like potpourri, I would say. But I also get the powdery iris and the dried fruits that make this slightly sweet, but still very woody, very heavy on the patchouli, balsamic, ambery, slightly spicy. So it's definitely more of a dry fragrance. There is sweetness to it, don't get me wrong, but the overall vibe is a bit more on the dry side. So if you don't like unisex leaning or masculine leaning fragrances, stay away from this one. This is not like the original Coco Mademoiselle. It's much drier, woodier, heavier on the patchouli. Some other notes that I can smell are definitely the vanilla. The vanilla is also there, and the pink pepper, which is slightly scratchy in the opening. You can really smell the pink pepper. The patchouli is earthy and sour, but the sweetness from the dry fruits kind of balances out all those more dry smelling notes. And despite everything I said, this fragrance is blended to perfection, velvety soft, very refined, elegant, sophisticated. And I also have to say, it's quite a unique scent. Even though it has patchouli, pink pepper, rose, all of these notes are in Coco Mademoiselle, they're in the original Coco, maybe even some other Chanel fragrances, but I wouldn't say this fragrance is a cross between Coco Mademoiselle and the original Allure, or even a cross between Coco Mademoiselle and the original Coco, like some people claim in their reviews. I would say this is quite unique. It definitely has a Chanel DNA. It does. So if you like those other Chanel fragrances that I mentioned, you might well like this one, but don't take my word for it. Try it. Do not blind buy this one. I don't think it's a safe blind buy. The name and the bottle are a bit misleading. This is more of a dry, woody fragrance, and I don't find it to be, it's not polarizing, but it's not too likable either. You have to like this type of scent. You have to like pink pepper, frankincense, patchouli. So even if you're a fan of the original Allure, don't blind buy this one, because this is a more sensual and seductive version of the original Allure, and I wouldn't say they have many things in common. They might have in common the Chanel DNA, but again, I don't think this smells like the original Allure at all. And it also doesn't really smell like Coco Mademoiselle, even though the vibe is there. The Chanel patchouli is there, the rose is there, but with the pink pepper and the frankincense and the dried fruits, this becomes a completely new fragrance. And I wouldn't say it's redundant if you own Coco Mademoiselle, the original Coco, and the original Allure. I would still own this one because this is, to me, very unique. I'm very glad I decided to revisit it because the first time I tried this, I kind of dismissed it. I don't know why. I just thought it was nothing special. Maybe I didn't even try it properly. I don't remember. But I was avoiding it for years. I don't know why, because it's a stunning fragrance. And when I saw a bottle on the secondhand market for a very good price, I dug out my sample from my sample drawer, which is full of samples. I tried it again and I loved it. So I bought the bottle and now I have it. And I'm so glad it came back into my life. This is such a beautiful, floral, powdery, dry, spicy, balsamic fragrance. It has a bit of this citrusy freshness in the opening. And when I first sprayed it, I was a bit skeptical, but you have to give it some time. In the opening, it can be a bit scratchy from the citrus and the pink pepper, but if you give it time, it becomes velvety smooth, creamy, enveloping, comforting, but also very strong. And the projection and the sillage on this fragrance are absolutely insane. You only need about 5 sprays. I don't know about the newer versions. This bottle is probably a couple of years old, and the performance is phenomenal. I can't complain. All the Chanel fragrances I own are great performers on me. I wouldn't say any of the ones I have been reformulated or, as people like to say, butchered. I wouldn't say so. This is a stunning fragrance. It's sensual, sophisticated, mature, even a bit sexy. And most importantly, it smells expensive. And it keeps getting better and better as it dries down. It keeps getting better, and as it ages, it also keeps getting better. When I first tried it, maybe I thought it was a bit too dry for me, and I thought I preferred Coco Mademoiselle and the original Coco, which I love to bits, don't get me wrong, but this one definitely has a place in my collection. There's a place and a time for this fragrance. If you're someone who loves ambery, patchouli fragrances, do give this one a try, and if you have it, please let me know down in the comments and tell me why you love this fragrance so much. Is it the patchouli? Is it the rose? What makes this fragrance special for you? And before we end this video, let me also tell you that I took the notes from Fragrantica and the official Chanel website, because Fragrantica doesn't list frankincense, and I can really smell the frankincense in this fragrance. The Chanel website does list it as one of the notes. So before you cross-examine me, do your own research. So that's all I wanted to say about this beautiful, mysterious Chanel fragrance. It has a place in my collection. Do you own it? Do you have it? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye!